Did Mary Reeser spontaneously combust? This eerie question has puzzled investigators and baffled scientists for over 70 years. On that fateful night, July 1, 1951, Mary Reeser was reduced to nothing but ash in her modest St. Petersburg, Florida apartment, leaving behind a grotesque yet strangely isolated scene of devastation. What remained of Mary was hardly human at all, a pile of fine ashes, a left foot still encased in its black silk slipper, and part of her spine. Most disturbing of all, her skull, shrunken to a fraction of its original size, sat amid the charred remnants. This horrifying discovery would cement her place in paranormal history as the Cinder Woman. As you might imagine, the scene was perplexing. Mary's chair, a plush upholstered relic, had been incinerated alongside her body. The carpet directly beneath her was scorched clean through, but the rest of her home? Virtually untouched. Curtains still hung gracefully from the windows, pictures clung to their hooks, and only a light dusting of soot clung to the walls. Light switches had softened, some slightly melted, but even paper strewn on a nearby table remained unburned. How could a fire burn with such intensity to reduce bone and flesh to ash, yet spare the fragile contents of her living room? The air was thick with an acrid stench, a blend of charred fabric and something far more sinister. The walls bore faint stains, ghostly shadows of soot that seemed to whisper of something unholy. Even seasoned firefighters were left shaken by the sight. One of them later recounted that it was as if the fire knew exactly where to burn. Smoke still clung to the air like an unwelcome guest, curling around the room in ghostly tendrils. It was as if the flames had come and gone with surgical precision, leaving only despair and the lingering scent of burned flesh. The morning after that tragic night, Mary's landlady, Pansy Carpenter, arrived to deliver a telegram. She knocked, but there was no answer. When she reached for the doorknob, she recoiled. It was alarmingly hot to the touch. Alarmed, she called the police. What officers found upon their arrival was the stuff of nightmares: a chair reduced to smoldering embers, a blackened patch of carpet, and amid the ashes, the ghastly remnants of Mary Reeser. No flames flickered, only the ghostly tendrils of smoke curled upward from the pile. The foot, untouched and pristine in its slipper, seemed almost staged, a cruel reminder of what had once been. Authorities were baffled. The FBI was called in to examine the bizarre circumstances surrounding her death. Despite their efforts, skeptics emerged. The story of the Cinder Woman, as she came to be known, sparked wild theories and endless speculation. Could a human body really burn with such completeness without igniting the room around it? Forensic experts scratched their heads, and the public whispered of strange phenomena, even the supernatural. Reeser's case soon attracted the attention of St. Petersburg Police Chief J.R.P. Hart, who, perplexed by the scene, reached out to none other than J. Edgar Hoover of the FBI. Hart included samples of the chair, its springs warped by the heat, and fragments of the rug. He described the scene as the most baffling thing I've seen in nearly 25 years of police work. Yet even the FBI's seasoned investigators could not fully explain the event. Their report cited the possibility of the wick effect, a gruesome process in which human body fat acts as a slow-burning fuel source, much like a candle. In this scenario, once the body ignites, its fat continues to feed the flames in a near-contained burn. But even this theory left questions unanswered. For one, how did the blaze not spread? How did the fire burn hot enough to cremate bones, something that typically requires temperatures of 1,400 to 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, without consuming the rest of the room? More chilling still were the accounts of neighbors. Some claimed to have seen a flickering light in Mary's apartment window late into the night, while others whispered about strange noises, a low hum, almost mechanical, vibrating through the walls. One neighbor insisted she saw what looked like a ball of fire drift into Mary's open window just hours before she was discovered. Her claims were dismissed as nonsense, but she remained adamant until her dying day. Stranger still, a letter emerged decades later, written by an anonymous source who claimed to have seen lights in the sky over St. Petersburg the night Mary Reeser died. The letter described orbs of blue light that crackled with static, drifting slowly before vanishing without a trace. While dismissed as the ramblings of a conspiracy theorist, it added yet another chilling layer to an already surreal case. There were darker whispers too, the kind that clung to hushed conversations and shadowy corners. Some spoke of ritualistic practices, whispers of the occult that had woven themselves into the fabric of Florida's underbelly. Theories emerged, sinister in their implications, Had Mary been cursed? Was her death the result of some arcane ritual? Though authorities never found proof, the rumors refused to die. Mary's son, Dr. Richard Reeser JRB, added to the mystery. He recalled his last moments with his mother. She had been in good spirits, preparing for bed with her usual routine, slipping into her nightgown, taking her sleeping pills, and enjoying a cigarette before settling into her chair. He had left her that night with a wave and a promise to call in the morning. The next time he saw her, it was to identify the remnants left behind. The scene was both horrifying and perplexing. The chair she had been sitting in was also reduced to ashes, yet the room showed minimal signs of fire damage. The walls, ceiling, and other furniture were largely unscathed, as if the fire had been selectively destructive. Investigators were baffled by the intensity of the heat required to cremate a human body, which typically necessitates temperatures of around 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Yet, there were no signs of a fire that could produce such heat. The phenomenon of spontaneous human combustion has long been a subject of debate and speculation. It is characterized by the sudden and inexplicable ignition of a human body, often resulting in complete incineration. In Mary Reeser's case, the mystery deepened as experts struggled to explain how her body could burn so intensely without affecting the surroundings. Some theories suggest that a chemical reaction within the body, possibly involving alcohol or other substances, could trigger such a fire. Others propose that external factors, such as a lightning strike or a spark from an electrical appliance, might be responsible. The haunting image of Mary Reeser's foot, perfectly preserved amidst the ashes, adds a macabre touch to the already terrifying scenario. It serves as a grim reminder of the inexplicable and often frightening nature of spontaneous human combustion. The case remains unsolved, leaving behind a legacy of fear and fascination that continues to captivate those who hear of it. As the years have passed, the mystery of Mary Reeser's death has only grown more chilling. The unanswered questions and eerie details have left an indelible mark on the annals of unexplained phenomena. The thought that such a fate could befall anyone, without warning, adds a layer of dread to the story. It is a haunting reminder that some mysteries may never be solved, and that the unknown can be far more terrifying than we ever imagined. Thanks for diving into the shadows with me, you curious, twisted, and beautifully eerie souls. My name is Penny Flick with Kreep-ish. Share your thoughts below. We're just scratching the surface of true crime, history's mysteries, and all things hauntingly fascinating. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and always remember, the truth is stranger than fiction.